You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR 680. And today, Casey Schmitt sent all the moms at Oracle Park home happy as he comes up with a walk-off double in the 10th to give the Giants a 6-5 victory over the Cincinnati Reds. Kyle Harrison couldn't find the strike zone early, but battled through it and locked in, shutting the Reds offense down. After surrendering 3 runs in that first inning, they now have won their last 2 series, but they have huge issues to deal with now after a devastating injury to Jung Hoo Lee in the first inning after he crashed in to the center field wall. We will break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants daily show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. And this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedonmlb and use code all lowercase lockedonmlb for first deposit match up to $100. Harrison in the first inning could not find the strike zone, threw more balls than he threw strikes in that first inning. And you saw him missing a lot high with that fastball. Yeah, I mean, he was missing up all day long outside too. Lots of first pitch balls in this one for Harrison. First batter of the game, he hits Friedel right out of the gate, and then issues 2 more free passes in that inning. Spencer Steer walk and a Stuart Fairchild Forever Giant walk. And then Candelario comes up, and this is where things get really bad for the Giants. He smashes one deep to center field. Jung Hoo Lee gets on his horse, and if he had made this play, man, this would have been the catch of the year. But he jumps at the wall full speed, tries to get a glove on that ball, and the ball did glance off of his glove just slightly. He just barely got a finger on it, but didn't make the catch. The ball stayed in the yard. I don't think it would have got out even if Lee did not touch that ball. It bounced off the top of the wall, but so did Lee. Jung Hoo Lee's left arm was completely extended, outstretched, and you saw that it was at kind of like a perpendicular angle to his arm was coming out at a perpendicular angle to compared to his torso, and it made like that 90-degree angle between the arm and the torso. That if you've had shoulder injuries, I personally have had 3 shoulder surgeries, so I know exactly how he is feeling right now. I mean, when you have your arm in that angle and anything hits it from the back, or if you make contact hard enough, you saw his elbow, his everything kind of just like forced the arm in a jarring motion that would kind of jerk it right out of the socket. And I mean, I've done a similar thing so many times in my very, very not professional playing career. I mean, the last time that I did something like this, I was playing slow pitch softball. So, that's about the limit of my athleticism. Anyways, Jung Hoo Lee, I can relate, man. Like, those shoulder injuries are scary. They hurt and they take a while to come back from, unfortunately. And this did not look like his shoulder went back in the socket after he crashed into that wall. You could see he was down for a long time, just holding that left shoulder. Mikey Yaz, as soon as he backed up the play, ran back immediately to go check on him. You saw the trainer and the translator run out, and as he was walking off the field, you saw Jung Hoo Lee's translator literally holding up his arm as he's walking off the field. I can tell you from personal experience, I know exactly what that's like, and I'm sure some of you do too. But that shoulder injury is, I'm assuming, going to keep him out for a while, like maybe a few months. And this is honestly the worst thing that could happen to the Giants right now, short of losing a guy like him for the entire season. I mean, he is one of the very few bright spots the Giants have had all season long, and they just can't afford to sustain any more injuries to outfielders or key players at this point. Like, any key batter that gets injured just is a devastating blow at this point, with the offense struggling the way it is. The Giants did, according to Maria Guardado, classify Jung Hoo Lee's injury as a, quote, left shoulder strain. I'm sure we will get more of an update as we progress through these next couple days. I'm sure he's going to need an MRI before they tell us that it is in fact, something's torn in there. But tough, man, very tough. And this comes, ahead of today's game with all these other injuries. Michael Conforto hits the IL with a hamstring, and the Giants had brought up Luis Matos ahead of this game. So we finally get Luis Matos here. We actually did see him in this one. He scored that winning run. He was the ghost runner on second. But anyways, he didn't get an at-bat in this game, but I think we're going to see some Luis Matos playing time out of necessity at this point. At least we'll see him in certain spots backing up guys. But I mean, the Giants having another injury to a huge key component of this team, probably like the best free agent signing the Giants had this year. Definitely the best free agent that the Giants brought in this year, a rookie of the year candidate. This guy has done everything and then some for the Giants. He's been a plus glove in the outfield. His arm is great, making crazy contact. His batting average is not quite what we were hoping it would be. But if you look at some of the advanced metrics like expected batting average, hard hit percentage, those types of things, all those numbers look really good for Lee. His batting average should have been higher than it was if you're going off those advanced statistics, but this is just devastating, man. This is a gut punch for the Giants. And I feel like I've said that on, at least half of these shows that I've done over the last 2 weeks. I mean, the Giants have had so many injuries. This is the seventh position player to go down with an injury in like the last 8 or 9 days. And prior to that, as I said, Conforto goes down on the IL with a hamstring just yesterday. The other players that hit the IL, Patrick Bailey, Tom Murphy, Jorge Soler, Nick Ahmed, Austin Slater. Every single one of those guys is important to this team. Your Slater is your backup center fielder, leadoff hitter when he plays. Murphy, your backup catcher. You need your backup catcher to play. I mean, with the way the Giants are using Pat Bailey, like once per series. So that guy's going to play once every 3-4 games. That's important. Jorge Soler, supposed to be your 4 hitter, your cleanup guy. He's not in the lineup. He's also not really doing a lot when he is in the lineup. Nick Ahmed has been so good defensively for the Giants and has come up in some big offensive moments this year, has had a couple moments at the plate for the Giants, although the main reason he is here is for his defense. And let me tell you, the Giants are missing every single one of these guys at this point. Bailey is the only one who has been activated from the minimum 7-game concussion IL of all of these players, though he did not start today. He was scratched with a viral illness. Man, tough start to this game for the Giants. This all happened before the Giants even got a chance to bat. The Giants found themselves on that Candelario double, all 3 runners on base scored. Giants in a 3-0 hole before they even get a chance to bat. It stayed that way until bottom 4. Lamont Wade Jr. gave one a ride to the deepest part of the yard, almost got out, but Fairchild made a nice play at the wall. Lamont Wade Jr., we'd hear from him a little bit later in this one. Harrison went back out for the 5th inning, and he was done after 5. He did lock in after that first inning. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts, 5 walks, though, and 1 hit by pitch. Kyle Harrison, the key for him, as we've talked about in prior starts, is efficiency, and he was absolutely not efficient tonight as he threw a ton of pitches out there on the mound. Couldn't find the zone very well. 98 pitches, only 53 strikes. So almost half of his pitches were balls in this one. That's not what we want to see from Kyle Harrison, who's been pitching really well. His last 2 starts, Giants won. I mean, the 2 wins that they got on the road trip were Kyle Harrison starts, or 2 of their 3 wins on that last road trip were Kyle Harrison starts. The Giants get another win today. Harrison actually was in line to pick up the win because in the bottom of the 5th, the Giants scored a bunch of runs. I mean, they keep having crooked number innings. That's a good sign. Although we need this to happen more often from the Giants before we can call it any sort of consistency or regularity with the Giants. I mean, it started out with a Fitzgerald double and then a Matt Chapman base hit knocks in Tyler Fitzgerald. Giants cut the Reds lead 3-1, and Chapman continuing to heat up. Another hit with a runner in scoring position after really dropping the ball in that situation constantly over and over and over again prior to yesterday, really. Chapman still, though, only 1 for 5 on the day. You want to see something better than that from Matt Chapman. Although he does get the RBI, we will take it at this point. And he hit that single at 111 miles an hour. He's really starting to hit the ball hard again. And you know what Barry Bonds used to say? Go up there and hit the ball hard somewhere. Good things will happen. So if Matt Chapman continues to hit the ball at 111 miles an hour, I think good things should start to happen for Matt Chapman, at least better than they've been, man. I mean, it can't get much worse. And it's a good sign that also that Matt Chapman is hitting against right-handed pitching. Frankie Montas on the hill for the Reds, a righty. He's just coming into today, 20 for 114, just 175 batting average on the season against right-handed pitching. I mean, so I want to see him hit better. I especially want to see him start to hit righties better. He hit righties a lot better than that last year and through the rest of his career. So anyways, good to see Matt Chapman starting to get back to what we thought he would be when the Giants signed him in free agency. Lamont Wade Jr. comes up then, and I told you we'd hear from him later, somehow pulls a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that was high and tight. It was out of the strike zone. This pitch was a ball, and he put it over the right field wall, but he did hit it to the shortest part of the park, Oracle Park. I mean, how often do you see guys hit 321-foot bombs at Oracle Park? Not very much, but that one snuck out of here at just 321 feet. I mean, yeah, there's some high school stadiums that have deeper yards than that. 2-run score for the Giants. Then Wilmer Flores comes up with a hit down the left field line. 4 consecutive hits for the Giants. Wilmer takes second on a wild pitch. Mike Yastrzemski, productive out, moves him over to third, and then Elliot Ramos scorches another single, 106.5 off the bat, and scores Wilmer Flores. Another multi-hit game for Ramos. Again, do not ever send this guy back down to Sacramento. Did you see his defense in this series? Did you see what he's been doing at the plate? Do not send this guy back to Sacramento. I don't care who gets healthy. Do not send this guy back to Sac. Blake Sable, slow roller to short after this, but Spencer Steer couldn't handle a low throw by Ellie De La Cruz, and Sable, who has wheels for a catcher, not just for a catcher, but Sable has wheels, man, and put the pressure on. They actually ruled this a hit, and then a throwing error on the play that allowed the runners to advance. Ball kicks away, gets into right field. It actually goes pretty far into right field. De La Cruz has a cannon out there, so I mean, he fired that ball over, and it just hit the wrong thing. I don't know what it kicked off of, but it shot way far down the right field line, far enough that Ramos was able to score all the way from first base with that plus speed that he has, and Sable, speedy as well, gets all the way to third on a ground ball to short. Giants took a 5-3 lead, the 5 runs in that inning, another crooked number for the Giants. And that was all she wrote for Kyle Harrison. He was in line for the win. Sean Jelly comes in next, pitches almost 2 full innings of pretty good relief work, gives up 1 hit, and then he gets taken out immediately. I'm assuming Jelly had a hard pitch count on what his cutoff was going to be for today, because he only threw 22 pitches, and he's capable of going longer than that. He's been really good for the Giants all season long. Again, he did give up that single with 2 outs in the 7th inning. Ryan Walker comes in next, and he did not have it today, man. Like, Ryan Walker has been locked in all season long, and he just didn't really have it today. He gave up back-to-back singles in that 7th inning with 2 outs, allowing that run to score that Jelly put on, that runner on base that Sean Jelly put on. So the run was charged to Sean Jelly. Reds cut the Giants lead to 5-4. Then in the top of the 8th, Ryan Walker comes back out and gives up a couple more hits, but one of them was a deep bomb to straightaway center field by another forever Giant, Mike Ford, who we've heard from a few times in this series. Keeps missing. Ryan Walker keeps missing on the wide side of the plate, on his pitching arm side, like the right side of the plate from the pitcher's perspective. I mean, he just kept missing wide over and over and over. I don't know if it was his release, having a hard time finding that release point, or what was going on with him, but he just didn't look right today. He just didn't seem to have his best stuff. He was missing his spots. Anyways, that Ford home run ties it 5-5. Then, I mean, the Reds almost added more on with runners on base. Ramos makes a great play on a line drive by Benson, hit straight back over his head, gets on his horse and battles the sun, but hauls it in. One of the hardest plays in baseball to make is on a line drive hit straight over your head. And Ramos honestly made that look pretty routine. Like, this guy is so smooth in the outfield. He drills the ball at the plate. I want this guy there. I mean, I don't think he's an everyday player at this point in his career, but my God, this guy needs more time in the big leagues. Leave him up with the big league club. Doval comes in, and Ellie De La Cruz comes up in that inning with a tie game and runners on base. Duvall comes in and strikes out his fellow countryman, another Dominican, Ellie De La Cruz, and Camilo Duvall, also a Dominican. You see him kind of like, you see that battle happening, especially between Dominican players. I mean, they're all so competitive, man. And baseball is religion down there, basically. So, yeah, you know what that matchup meant. Ninth inning, Mike Ford came up again with runners at second and third. Giants couldn't do anything in the bottom of the eighth. Top of the ninth, Mike Ford comes up again with runners at second and third, and Duvall strikes him out to get out of the jam and end the inning. Thankfully, in the bottom nine, looked like the Giants were going to get back into this one. A Chapman bloop to center, hung up there for a while. 4 Reds converge on it and gets lost in the sun. Chapman running hard, gets the second on the play after the ball drops. Then the Reds intentionally walk Lamont Wade Jr., probably a smart choice by them because he's been really hot this season. The only good Giants hitter so far, really. I mean, a lot of other guys have had bad luck. Lamont Wade Jr. has, or have just been really bad. Like the other guys who have been successful, I should clarify. The other guys who have been successful have run into a little bit of bad luck. Jung Hoo Lee, guys like that. They're still hitting the ball hard, but not quite getting hits. It seems like Lamont Wade Jr. is the only guy who's actually like collecting hits, and everybody else on this Giants team is really, really struggling, even if they're hitting the ball hard, that's finding gloves. But a lot of Giants just flat out not hitting the ball hard at all. So anyways, they intentionally walk Lamont Wade Jr. Runners at first and second with Wilmer Flores at the dish, and he pops out and foul ground to end the inning. Very, very anticlimactic. Luke Jackson comes in for Duvall in the 10th and comes up with a pretty impressive strikeout. He closed that inning out by striking out Ellie De La Cruz with the go-ahead run on third base. It was impressive, and it gave the Giants some momentum going into the bottom half of that inning, and you saw exactly what happened. Casey Schmitt comes up, man, his first hit of the 2024 season as a San Francisco Giant, and he blasts one into the gap in left center field. Just before he hit that ball, you saw him barely miss a hanging slider, and you could just read his mind. He was like, oh man, do not throw that pitch again. And he did. He hung another slider, and Casey Schmitt jumped all over that one, man, put it into the gap, almost put it out of the yard completely, but ground rule double, good enough to score Luis Matos, who came in as the ghost runner on second, and it scored him on that ground rule double to give the Giants a walk-off win on Mother's Day at Oracle Park. Send all the moms home happy. This was a fun game, man. This was a fun game. Giants got a long way to go back to being competitive, though, with the Dodgers coming to town and the injury to Jung Hoo Lee. Spent a lot of time recapping this game. We got to take a break, man. I've gone way too long. We got to take a break and break down some more things from today. Harrison Wild on the bump, and we can't overstate this enough. Jung Hoo Lee's injury is absolutely devastating for the San Francisco Giants. Got to break some of these things down on the other side. Got to take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast. Stick with us. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Policygenius. Shopping for life insurance is something that can be overwhelming for many people, and that's why I'm here to tell you about Policygenius. Policygenius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It saves you time and money, so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million worth of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. That all sounds pretty great to me. Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through this process step by step. That's important for me because I'm not very smart when it comes to this kind of stuff. This is important because many of you may not be as well covered as you think. Your work life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs, or even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. Policygenius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over the other, so you can trust their guidance. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonmlb. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. The Giants get a walk-off win at Oracle Park, 6-5 over the Cincinnati Reds on Mother's Day, sending all the moms home happy at Oracle Park. I know I had a couple friends out there at the yard with their moms today, and looked like a great way to spend a day with mom if you're gonna just forget about that Jung Hoo Lee injury. Because, man, let me tell you, without Jung Hoo Lee in center field, this outfield is back to looking very, very pedestrian, very, very mediocre. And yes, I know Ramos has been nice. Matos, we all want to see what he can do. Mikey Yaz has been playing better. With Conforto injured, with Lee injured, I mean, this outfield has no chance of being competitive. No chance of being competitive with those two guys out. I mean, those are two of your cornerstones that you've expected. Offensively, yes, but what the Giants are now going to miss defensively with Jung Hoo Lee out there in center field, I mean, this sucks, man. This absolutely sucks. This is, as I said at the top of the show, one of the worst things that could happen to this Giants team, with the exception of like him being out for the season. I mean, this is horrible. This is the home run free agent signing that the Giants had when all the others fell through, when Matt Chapman's out here doing what he's doing, when Jorge Soler's out here doing what he's doing, when Blake Snell's out here doing what he's doing. By the way, we do have a Blake Snell update. We should give you guys that in a little bit. But Jung Hoo Lee, man, I'm struggling to find words, because this is just becoming so old for the Giants. They've had so many injuries lately, and it's just so frustrating when a team that is struggling like this, struggling to get hits, you keep having injuries to position players. You can't really get in a rhythm. I mean, just prior to this, Jung Hoo Lee was out for a few games after fouling a ball off of his foot in Colorado, misses a couple games being all banged up. He finally comes back, and then this happens, man. And this is something I'm expecting him to miss multiple weeks, maybe multiple months for. I mean, we can't rule out something like surgery being an option. I am not a doctor, but I have had plenty of shoulder injuries before. And let me tell you, when you dislocate it that traumatically, like when you hit something that hard, usually something's torn in there. And those torn things don't just repair themselves. I really hope I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I really, really, really hope I'm wrong on this one. But if Jung Hoo Lee's not out there for the Giants, I don't know how this team remains competitive. I just don't. I don't. When you're missing your leadoff hitter, the fastest guy on your team, the best glove that you have in the outfield, the best arm that you have in the outfield, this is rough. This is really hard for the Giants. I don't know where they go from here. I'm expecting Tyler Fitzgerald. I'm expecting a healthy dose of Tyler Fitzgerald. But going forward, it looks like the Giants are going to have to play, like, two of your three outfielders are going to be guys who are either backup players or minor leaguers at the start of this season. And that is not a recipe for success. That is not how you compete against teams like the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are about to come in here tomorrow for a 3-game series. And I mean, I don't know how you compete with that lineup when you're missing every single starter that you need that's a big bat in this lineup. I mean, Lamont Wade Jr. is still hanging out. Like, he's the only one who's still batting in this lineup that is productive. I mean, it's been really tough this year for the Giants offensively. I don't got to tell you guys that. I mean, we've all endured this all season long. With Jung Hoo Lee, it gets infinitely harder. I mean, this guy is someone who makes other people's lives easier on offense. Like, he gets on base ahead of guys. He doesn't strike out. Like, he's making contact all the time. This is I mean, devastating. A gut punch, whatever wording you want to use for it, use it. I mean, this is the worst thing that could happen to the Giants, shy of like a Logan Webb injury. I mean, I can't think of a more key player for the Giants to lose at this point in the season. I mean, maybe Lamont Wade Jr., but I mean, Lamont's been great offensively, not trying to take anything away from him, but he is not the defender that Jung Hoo Lee is. Like, Lamont Wade's nice at first base. He's okay. He's not the best first baseman I've ever seen. He's not even like Brandon Belt level. Brandon Belt was phenomenal at first base defensively, but I mean, the 340 batting average, you can't scoff at that. The 937 OPS, can't scoff at that. But Jung Hoo Lee adds so much to this club defensively in such a big outfield too, that the Giants have to play in at Oracle Park. This is really, really, really tough for them to rebound from. I don't know how they're going to do it going forward. I don't. I expect a healthy dose of of guys like Tyler Fitzgerald, Elliot Ramos, Luis Matos. I mean, Mike Yastrzemski, that's your outfield. Those four guys. Oh, and Brett Wisely, who got here from AAA not that long ago too. This Giants outfield's going to be a problem going forward, man, and maybe not as much defensively. I mean, it will still be not as good when Jung Hoo Lee's not out there. This is a problem, man. This is a problem. We got to take a quick break, talk about a little bit more from this game on the other side, plus give you guys a quick Blake Snell update. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Spring training is over and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, you can take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks entry today. PrizePicks has something for every sports fan, from baseball and basketball to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick Anthony Edwards, Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We got a couple more minutes here before we got to go ahead and wrap this one up. But I did tell you guys, Blake Snell update. Blake Snell pitched today in Single A San Jose. So I get it. He's facing Single A talent. A lot of people don't really care about the stats that those guys have in those games. But let me tell you, anytime a dude throws an immaculate inning, you got to take note. And that's exactly what Blake Snell did. I don't care that it was in Single A San Jose. This guy who has had an ERA of above 10 has clearly looks like he's found his stuff again, at least starting to. Maybe he's not all the way back yet. We need to see it against big league pitching or big league hitting before we can make that declaration. But 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts, and 1 inning. It's impressive no matter which way you chop it up. He had 7 strikeouts over his first 36 pitches in his rehab start with Single A San Jose Giants today. I mean, that's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. The Giants, and this was info from, the Chronicles, Susan Slesser. Love Susan. She's a great human and great reporter as well. The Giants absolutely need some reinforcements soon. I mean, it is, how many guys can one team lose before they're just completely incapable of making a run? And Blake Snell is, has the potential to be a very good reinforcement for the Giants. But most importantly, I should mention, Blake Snell in San Jose, the most important thing of his start, he struck out the beer batter. He struck him out on 3 pitches and seemed to just be gunning for that strikeout. If you guys have been to a San Jose Giants game, you know what that means. Beer batter striking out is the best thing that can happen at a San Jose Giants game. And so you got some positive things with Blake Snell maybe coming back up, but it's not going to mean a whole lot if this Giants offense can't score. They scored more than 5 runs again today, still undefeated when they score 5 or more runs. Now, I think 12-0 on the year now, but this is really going to be put to the test when they play the Los Angeles Dodgers, who make their first visit to Oracle Park this season tomorrow. Opens up a 3-game series, and the Giants, since 2018, going against the Dodgers in their last 46 games at Oracle Park, 17-29 with a -101 run differential. I don't think that's very good. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the Giants need to do something to win a game against the Dodgers at Oracle Park, because they obviously have not fared very well. They did not win a home series against the Dodgers last year. I mean, it was bad. Since August 1st, 2022, the Giants are just 2-11 in their last 13 games at Oracle Park against the Dodgers. So, yeesh, the Giants really need to pick up some wins. They're on the season now. They are 19-23. They're struggling, man. They've been struggling to try and get back to 500 all year long, and that is not where you want to be. That is not the sign of a good baseball team. It is still early. It is still May. I will repeat again, I'm not going to make a declarative judgment about if this team's going to the playoffs or not on May 12th. That's ridiculous. However, you can't win or lose anything in May, but right now the Giants doing a whole lot to shoot themselves in the foot. Injuries, part of the game, can't really do anything about that. But at a certain point, all this stuff just starts to become so overwhelming and mounting that I don't know how you climb back out of this hole. I mean, depending on how long Lee's out for him, depending on how many games the Giants drop in this month of May, by the time we get into June, that hole might be insurmountable for the Giants to climb out of, at least to win the division. I mean, I think we all know winning the division was more than a long shot, even at the start of this season before the Giants or Dodgers played any games in 2024. I think we all kind of knew this was the Dodgers division to win. The Giants, I still had hope for them to be a wild card team. I still do think that they can maybe have a shot at making the wild card, but some things got to start going right. I mean, a Jung Hoo Lee injury does not help you get any closer to that. At this point, I don't want to see the Giants go out and make a trade out of necessity just to reach the postseason, because I'm not selling prospects for a postseason berth. This is the San Francisco Giants. You're selling prospects because you think it's going to win you a World Series. If the bar is just get back to the playoffs, and my God, how far this team has fallen from what it was even just a decade ago. I don't think that the Giants need to start making moves like that. I don't think that, if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, go ahead and make some moves like that. The San Francisco Giants are not the Pittsburgh Pirates. Making the playoffs is not clearing the bar. And they need to keep that in mind. The goal is win a World Series. Do not unload your prospects for a rental player that might help you make a playoff push. That's the last thing I want the Giants to do. If they move prospects, which I do think they need to do, I think they need to go get a hitter, but not just a rental, not a guy just for this season to make a postseason run, but they need to go get a big bat that is under team control for the next couple of seasons and continue to build towards the future. I think we all know this is not the year for the Giants to win the World Series. This is, such a long shot for a team like this to be able to get back into the postseason, make a run all the way there and win it all. Like, that's very unrealistic. What my hopes for the Giants were this year was that they would be more competitive than they were last year and show that they had a direction that they were moving in, because the last couple seasons under Gabe Kapler, it felt like this team had no idea what they were doing. They seemed lost in the woods. This year, the free agent signings made sense. The prospects all developing, all these arms starting to come up. I thought that this was going to be a step forward for the Giants, and I think it still can be. That's the whole point. Like, I'm not sitting here giving you guys positive information just because I think the Giants are going to, rebound and all of a sudden be a great team and push and make a World Series run, win the NL West. Like, no, those things are completely unrealistic. But this team can continue to improve for now and for years to come. That is key with this prospect group. I mean, you have so many young guys on this team that are so good. Look at Casey Schmitt today. I mean, Ramos today. Look what he did. Look at all of these young guys that played in today's game and came up with big moments, or throughout this whole series. Kyle Harrison, the starter, a rookie. And this guy's one of the Giants' best pitchers already. This is something that the Giants are going to continue to move forward with, continue to try and build over the next coming seasons, this year, next year, the year after. I think it's going to be at least, I don't think they're going to, competing for the World Series this year, unrealistic. Next year, a little more realistic, still pretty unrealistic, depending on what they do between now and then. Obviously, a lot can change. But I think going into this year, I thought they were still at least a year or two away from being able to really, really, really compete, which isn't what Giants fans want to hear. I get it. We want results now. As I said, the expectation for Giants fans is a World Series, not a playoff berth. So it's frustrating when the Giants are playing like this. I get it. Trust me. 19-23 is not what you want to see from the orange and black. I mean, you don't want to be 4 games below 500, but if the Giants can win the series against the Dodgers, I mean, they have won 2 series in a row. That's it's going to be a tall task. I'm not saying that I think they can. I actually do think the Dodgers are going to win this series against the Giants, as much as I hate saying that out loud. I think that's what's going to happen. And just before we get on out of here, I know that we've gone over time, but just one more quick little stat before we get on out of here. Over the Giants' last 8 series, dating back to April 15th, they're 5-2-1 in those series. That's not bad. I mean, I did not expect that when I went back and was going through some stats. However, as I said, 5-2-1 in last 8 series, but that 4-game sweep in Philly means that their record over that time is just 13-13. That's not very good. So the Giants need a series win bad. Need to keep it rolling. Although I don't think that they will. This is kind of where we're at with this Giants team now. And brace yourselves, guys, because this could get a lot worse with the Jung Hoo Lee injury. This could be the start of a legitimate free fall. I mean, you got the Dodgers up. That could really set things off in a tailspin for the Giants. We'll see what happens going forward. But man, the Giants are down bad right now. And I know that this is a weird tone after a walk-off win. I get it. But I don't know how we can sit here and fully celebrate this walk-off win when we all saw what happened to Jung Hoo Lee today. It's about all the time we have for you on the show. That's more than all the time we had for you on the show today. We went long for sure. Thanks for sticking with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. We will see you tomorrow. Giants-Dodgers, first game of the 3-game series starts at 6:45 tomorrow at Oracle Park. We'll see you on the postcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.